So, Ski Mask, you came to the East Coast. You left Texas. You came here. You met people. Did you meet, what's his real name? Atticus Flinch or Finch?
No, I don't think anyone's gonna meet him. It's a fake persona. Like, I think I don't even know if it's good enough for someone of stature to even be behind the account. You know what I mean?
If people don't know who it is, of course you don't. No one knows who the fuck it is. He is the quote-unquote manager of comedian Barry Ribs. Barry is the guy who's been doing comedy almost 30 years, a guy that I think, a guy who never, made it, which there's no big deal. Who the fuck says if you make it or don't make it, but has been doing comedy forever. But I think got enamored with the idea of having a manager representative. So some fucking fan, some guy decided to be his manager and has now been running around Twitter annoying the fuck out of all of us.
Annoying the shit out of people. At first, it was funny. Like, I thought it was a bit this whole time. Like, he's got a manager. It's a fake Twitter manager. It was hilarious. But at this point, it's too much. Like, well,
Barry's crazy, right? We both can admit to that.
Absolutely.
There's something wrong with Barry Rib.
Yes, I mean that's what makes him funny. I mean, he'll come on a show. You'll go to talk, and he'll don't interrupt me. But you're not interrupting. It's the greatest thing ever. But the interaction with Barry, I love. But dealing with this guy, like I can't do it anymore.
I had met Barry one time on my when I was booking a comedy club years ago, and he came there like on a third party show. Talked to him for 2 seconds. Didn't really know him, but knew of him and heard of him because he ran in the same circles as comics I knew. Fast forward to about a couple months ago, I start seeing him a lot on the same feeds of Twitter I'm on because of the Compound Media people, the Kevin Brennan people, all that stuff. He would write these crazy things, comments. He'd be on Chrissy Mayer's show, so I became kind of aware of him. Other comics would mention him. And I was like, he'd be interesting to be on my POS show. So I wanted to have him and Levy on together.
Great choice.
It wasn't because it became Barry's show, and I don't think Bob got the shine. And also, Barry is wonderful, but at the same time, Barry is what Barry is. You're hiring the train wreck. So when he's on, he doesn't have Wi-Fi, which is his running joke, but like he's literally outside with headphones. You're hearing the wind. You're hearing noise. He keeps interrupting. Throughout the show, he kept acting like it was Bob's show and kept telling me Bob was his mentor. It's like, who gives a fuck? We're doing a show about this. Yeah. When I had him on, I got contacted by Atticus Finch, whatever, saying like, saying, hey, now that you had him on, I think you need to have a podcast where you have Barry on. Like, I literally just had him on a show. But you need to have him on. You need to talk to him about dealing with Twitter. It'd be compelling. You'd be the person to do it. And, oh, by the way, here's what you shouldn't do on your show. And it gives me advice on how I shouldn't talk about politics and I should change my format. And I'm like, who the fuck is this guy? So I was trying to be polite. I'm like, listen, I'll have Barry on again, but I have no rush right now to do that. But I also don't think anybody would want to listen to a show about me doing a compelling, Barry Ribs, like, almost like intervention. This is what the guy wanted me to do. Who gives a fuck about that?
See, now you're the second person who has told me that he has contacted them to try to set this thing up. When he did it with me, I was like, okay, this is funny. But then it
you froze up for
became like serious. I right here, I've got about 10 paragraphs right here of shit I need to be doing on my show when Barry comes on, which I've already proven that point. Barry's done 4 appearances on my show, and every single one of those has been all Barry. That's all. That's what it's about. The show's about him. And so, like, he's even getting to the point of telling me what the fuck to wear on the show. He says,
and the guy's never done anything in any, as far as I know, no shows, no comedy, no entertainment value of any way. He just watches shows.
And it sucks to let somebody like that bother you because going for so long as Barry Ribs' manager, some people, it's believable to some people who may not know. Like,
I think he really is. I really do think. I think Barry does believe that this guy's going to get him a gig, but the guy is. If you're going to get comics get caught up in not having representation. When you're doing it a long time and no one believes in you, that can be hard. And it's hard, especially if you're someone old school like Barry, where you used to just be able to like call someone or go to a club, whatever. And now it's all about dealing with bookers through the internet and writing things. Barry's not versed in that way. Yeah. And I think he got excited about some guy wanting to take it on.
Yes.
This guy has no idea what to do. And telling you right now, this guy is making Barry more annoying than Barry does, which is first of all, amazing.
Right.
If anyone can make Barry seem crazier and harder to deal with, my God, it's like Hitler than this guy. That's it.
I didn't know. Yeah, this guy is outstandingly annoying. Yesterday, I'm at my day job. I had a fucking ladder fly out of the back of my truck. I got a lot going on at like one time. and I'm getting bombarded by messages. I mean, there's 20 paragraphs right here of like shit. It's like he's putting so much thought into this thing, and it's all like old school. Like, you need to get a soundboard. I'm like, dude, it's not 1986. Just bring the guy on and make him be funny. Like, what the fuck is this?
And he's retarded. Like, I literally got on Twitter. He writes on Twitter, doesn't like DM me on Twitter, at me and says, "You need to follow me so I can message you, so I can tell you something." And I'm like, I ignore it.
Good God.
And he sends it again. And then he has Barry retweet, and Barry's like, "You need to follow him." I'm like, I don't need to follow. I go, just message me.
Right. Yeah.
Then finally he does, and he goes, I said, I even say, I said, just email me if you have something.
Yeah.
So then he emails me, but it's like then he's doing emails like it's a conversation. You need to do this. You need to have him on this show. You need to do this thing. And I'm like, and by the way, don't be political. Like, here's what you should do. And it's like, don't fucking tell me what to do with my show. I might have a big show, but you're asking to be on you want my platform. Hey, if you're a good manager in 2020, you fucking doofus. If you're good at it, if you're a lawyer, Mr. Atticus Finch, who's known for saying the N-word in a show, is a weird name to choose anyway. If you are smart, if you are looking for Barry's best interest, and you think Barry is compelling and polarizing, which he is, why aren't you, Mr. Flinch or Finch, wherever the fuck you are? Why aren't you hosting a fucking podcast where you interview your fucking guy and ask him things about his life that people would watch? Putting him on our shows, he's just trying to get an audience, which is all the same. That's it.
That's all audience. It is. And look, exactly. He's just trying to pick up more followers from hosting dumb shit like a dating game, which could have, I guess, been fun.
No, it wouldn't have been fun.
I mean, it wasn't fun. It wasn't fun. It was brutal. I didn't want to fucking do it.
I tried to watch it. I like your show. I couldn't watch it.
It's a disaster. It's a disaster.
And then what pissed me off is this morning, that's why I messaged you. I see that Lynch goes on there. Instead of just, okay, you're the manager, okay, asshole? Someone's letting you on their show. You don't have a lot of places to fucking go. He's now going to fight with you. He might think that gets attention.
I guarantee you I'm the only show. Right. I'm the only show that would have hosted that. That's it. You're not getting that anywhere else. A game show from the 90s, like on a fucking show. And he was so adamant about it. I'm telling him, I'm like, dude, no one else would have hosted it. Why are you roasting me?
But if Barry wanted to do a thing like, hey, Ski Mask, let's do it back and forth so it draws attention to people who watch the show. Maybe the numbers weren't good.
Right.
I'll say, what the fuck? You should have had Stancil do it. Let Stancil jump in and say his thing. The three of you, personalities, do it. When a guy who's claiming he's a manager, dude, you look so unprofessional. I know you're not really a manager, but I think in your mind you believe you are. You are hurting Barry. Because Barry is getting his name on the fact that he's part of Chrissy Mayer puts him out there and talks about the fact that Brendan talks about him. The people are talking, even you and I at smaller levels are talking about him, is getting him attention he hasn't gotten before. But then this guy is making it so we don't want him on.
We don't.
Because manager, stay the fuck out of it. There's no money in this. What are you managing? You're not getting 10% of what? Tweets? We don't pay Barry Rib. He's free. I had him on as a risk. I don't even know if I'd want him on now, but if I did, we'd argue and fight about how he trolls people that are taking care of him.
And that's what started this whole thing. Last night on the show, it was at the end, I was like, look, Barry, if you want to do another episode, message me directly. I'm not dealing with this fucking asshole anymore. Because like you say, he's annoying everybody. He's in everybody's inbox with these paragraphs. You need to do this. Chrissy, you. He's talking trash to even other fans. It's like, could you tone it down a bit? Like, it's not that crazy out here. First of all, you're doing this Patreon for Barry. The content's half-assed. He's stealing content from my show and using it as a backdrop. I'm like, come on, dude. What are you?
Not even that. Then he's literally, I don't think he realizes this, but he's using licensed content.
Yeah.
Just music and just putting Barry's head on it. Like, that's not legal. You're stealing things and using it. Yeah. And by the way, why the fuck do you have a Patreon? You have nothing to put on you. You have
nothing.
Build a platform first.
That's it.
A podcast, a YouTube channel. Build things there. Get people to get interest there. Should you and I have Patreons right now? Realistically, no. But because we are struggling and trying to get our name out there, we have found a very small army of people that are supportive and take care of us. So therefore, it's helping us pay for these things. It's been proven. Do we have huge numbers? No. Do we claim that? No.
Yeah, in a way with my show, because I wear a fucking sweater on my face, it gives the fans a chance to see an up-close and personal, different colored sweater. So it's just like I was able to throw that in there. It's like,
well, not only that, but also it pays for the laundering of the sweater mask.
Yes,
You think that's free? It has to go to the dry cleaner as we take care of.
I don't know how much money this Atticus thinks I have, but I mean, look at my show here. You need to get a soundboard. He told me you need to wear a suit and tie when you interview Barry Ribs.
Barry Ribs
What the fuck?
as an interview is one of the hardest fucking interviews. And I don't do interviews. You know that. I
Yes.
just have conversation.
Right.
I don't sit there and say this and that. So the fact that this guy doesn't, because okay, and you'll like this part because this involves your show. One of the messages I got was him saying you need to have Barry on, and I said back, I said I would sometime, but I'm not going to do a fucking intervention. I go, it's too niche. No one really knows who Barry is, and no one cares about his Twitter battles with people.
Nobody.
His response was, well, you had Mead and Stancil on, and no one knows who they are.
Good
and
God.
You had to explain that. So what's the big? So now he's a whiny little.
Now he's making excuses as to why you don't have him on. First of all three of you guys are from Connecticut. They're two actual personalities.
Well, not even that. I said to him, dude, the reason why I had them on is because why the fuck, if you heard my podcast with them, why the fuck do we know who you are? That was compelling to me.
Yeah.
Two people that aren't comics, that aren't personalities, that aren't podcast, are just fans of funny, have risen above people who do shows. People got they're on your show because they're polarizing.
Right.
They really are. They're doing more with their personalities than fucking Barry Ribs is.
Yes, absolutely. Because I feel like at this point, Barry Ribs isn't even controlling his own personality. Like Atticus is like telling him what to do, where to go and shit. And he's like, oh, you need to update your sound equipment. He can't even get Barry Ribs a fucking good pair of headphones or a mic or something.
Or inside.
A tripod.
Get him inside. Get the fucking guy inside. Why can't he be inside? You're a good manager. Get him a roof. One roof.
One roof, Atticus. They keep trying to get him a stove. I think this is the last thing he needs at this point. He can't even get a good camera angle, anything to make the show interesting, but that's what made it funny at first. But now he's trying to include these games and all this shit, and it's a dud. Like, I don't like slow silence on my show. And so he couldn't even prepare his client as to what the show was. He wrote 20 questions. They sucked. I told him, I was like, I'm not using these. And then he got mad about that.
If I was going to, I wouldn't have done that. And
yes,
I understand why you did it.
I kind of want to take it down, but I'm not that kind of guy. You know what I mean?
No. Now you don't, because we're going to do these podcasts and shit on it so people go listen to it.
It's garbage. Yes. Yeah.
But here's what I would have done with that. Like we talked before, I would, if I was going to do it at all, I would do a segment where I would say, fine, but a segment. I would do the show. If Barry wanted to be a guest on, we would talk for a little bit, get through, and then go, okay, a 5-minute fucking thing.
It was supposed to be 10, 15 minutes, but this Atticus, he's texting, he's blowing up my phone during the show. If you're watching it, you're seeing me looking down. He's also in the chat room blowing it up like, hey, get rid of one of the girls. Now he's managing my show?
Yeah.
Who the fuck is this guy? No credits.
He thinks that he's got some kind of say because Barry's excited that someone likes him. Barry
needs to move on. I'm sorry, but I can't deal with it anymore. Like, I'm not going to provide a platform for Barry Ribs if this continues. Like, I don't have fucking time to deal with this. I got enough going on now. Like, when I first started my show, sure. Honestly, I was like nervous having Barry on the first episode. But now it's evolved, and I'm like, okay, this is too much. I got this, and this. You know, like tone it the fuck down.
Okay, you and I have both talked about this off air, and not right. Well, neither one of us gonna get into detail, but we've both been through relationships where people have treated us like shit.
Right.
Okay.
Yes.
Here's what I see happening between Barry Rib and Atticus Finch. I'm not saying they're in a relationship. By the way, Barry Rib, I had to turn off the first minute of your show with him because of his thing where you did the funny relationship joke.
Yeah.
You know, because he's on a dating thing.
Exactly.
He makes a joke saying, well, I'm in a relationship. Or I'm so sorry, because he thought you were hitting on him, and you went, well, then why are you on this dating show?
Why are you on my show?
I laughed out loud at. And then he goes, go with the joke, ski mask. You train wreck, you go with the show, fucking Barry. But anyway, so he's on here's this guy, these two guys together. Obviously, Barry wants attention. Barry, as comedians, as podcasters, as entertainers in any way, we want to know that we're touching people. We want to know that people like what we're doing. We want to be liked. If we didn't want to be liked or accepted, we wouldn't be fucking doing this, okay? Yes. I get that. Barry forever has struggled. His friends, his peers, people that started after him have risen past him. I get, as a guy who's been doing it 13 years and isn't known, I get that too. And it's hard sometimes on your psyche and your ego. You like it when someone reaches out. Same way in dating. You're not dating for a while. You're in a tough streak, whatever. Somebody shows you attention. Now, you don't see the signs that they're not a good person for you, or they're abusive, or they're going to be hurting you. You just see that they believe in you. People around you are telling you, hey,
Right. Yeah.
this is not right. Don't be with this person. They're going to hurt you. You're like, no, you don't know them. Like, they love me. But you confuse passion for crazy.
Yep.
That happens a lot. And I
It's
think
happened
that's
in
what
all of my
Barry is falling
relationships.
into. This crazy swim fan fucking misery
You
stalker.
can't tell him anything. You can't.
Because
Like
he's
last
a
night,
psycho.
I'm like, Barry, you have to. This guy's making you look like a clown, and he comes back at me. I'm like, I just had you on my show, promoting your Patreon. Where you're gonna endlessly promote it on Twitter now? Because no one's having you on, Barry. No one's gonna have you on.
And this guy now is doing this to him. And now this guy wants to, like, I felt right away something was wrong. So on purpose on Twitter, I put a comment one day like, I wonder if he's available to pick up any other clients.
Ah.
And that's when he started messaging me. Like, they go, oh, he's a shark. He wants to do this, but you have no connect.
He wants the attention.
Young comics out there right now who when you first start, you're like, I need a manager, I need an agent. If you have to approach someone to be your manager, they aren't a manager.
Yes.
If somebody knows they can make money off you, they will find you. Okay? People can't make money off me. All right? I don't have that level of followers. I don't have that reach. I'm not saying I'm not talented. I'm not saying I get it, but there's a million of me in the world. Same as you, Ski Mask.
Right.
That's who we are. Maybe someday we will be. But in this day and age, you also have to learn how to be your own manager and agent as well.
Yeah.
It actually makes more sense because we don't make enough fucking money. If I headline a gig, I make $300. You want 10% of that? How are you going to live?
Yeah, I got $5 on my account.
Right. And that's just because Patreon hit on the first. That's why. Right. So it's like, that's why we got it. But at that same fucking time, you want that one person to believe in you. And that's what's happening to Barry. Barry is beat down. All the other exes have left him. He wants to have someone there, and he's gonna let this guy run his name into the fucking mud.
And it's to the point where it's like, Barry, I wish he knew what this guy was saying to us in the fucking the DMs. It's heavily annoying. Like, it's bad.
Barry is crazy enough on Twitter. I think Barry would know that, but Barry's never dealt with managers or agents, so he doesn't know that this isn't what you do. But like,
if he did some of those questionable tweets, he probably wouldn't put out. Yeah.
Name me another manager of an entertainer that's on Twitter commenting all the time.
Managers are quiet. You don't know if they have a manager or who the manager is.
You shouldn't know.
You
only know when they thank them at the end of their special on Netflix.
That's it.
It's written
once
in
they
the
get
credits.
there. Yeah.
But this guy will just Barry too. Barry will just write these crazy fucking things on Twitter, like Barry. Like, and also, if you were the manager, the first thing I would do is I'd rein Barry back. Like, the first thing I would do with Barry Ribs, I would hire someone or myself, as if I was the manager, to say, Barry, let me handle your social media right now because you are fucking it up. No, not like tone it down. The ass kissery of Barry Ribs. Holy shit. Give Chrissy Mayer a fucking break.
Yes.
Everything is Chrissy. Okay.
I feel bad because she's the type to feel the need to respond. And it's like, oh, like, you can't give it. I did her show last night and we were talking about the same thing. It's like, Barry, like, it comes a point, even if it was a bit, it's ran its course. Like, now it's just fucking annoying.
It was never funny. It wasn't a good bit.
Right. Yeah.
But then, if you're so enamored, Barry, with Chrissy Mayer, why aren't you paying attention to what the fuck she's doing? In the last year, she's blown the fuck up. And by handling social media in an incredible manner, by building her name, by knowing when to post and when not to post, when to strike, when not to strike, what to put out there, how to build her personality. She has branched herself out. You might only know her from Wet Spot, or you might know her from her podcast, or might know her from her Compound Media appearance. But there's many different things you can know her as because she's shown she's versatile. Just yelling her name and hoping you'll get the fucking rub is the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. That won't work for you.
He's not doing anything.
She can keep retweeting it all you want, and she will try to be helpful. But to do that with him, do that with Brendan, eventually it's going to piss Brendan off, I'm sure.
He's already had enough. There was 3 or 4 episodes ago he called out Atticus.
I mean, Brendan tolerates Chad Zumock, so he has a high tolerance for pieces of shit. But so if you can do that, then fucking great. But like this fucking guy, not even Finch, Barry on his own is a train wreck. You don't hire someone crazier than you.
Yes. And just when Barry is a train wreck, that's the whole point of having him on my show. I just want to deal with him. That's enough. Like you said, that's it. Like,
but you
what?
can't have him on with 5 people because then
No.
he ruins the conversation. So then you have to
Right.
have him one-on-one with one other person, and then he doesn't understand conversation and flow.
No, he thinks
When
it's like he doesn't even. He may say it's about somebody else, but truthfully, it's all about him when he's on a podcast. You
when
know,
he was on my
it's
POS show, it's me, my announcer Frank, and I had 2 guests. And I explained to them before the show, this is how it works. Bob sits there. Bob's a professional. Bob goes, okay,
absolutely the
I'm going to
best.
start first. I'm going to do this. I introduce a topic, and I kick it to each one of you guys. And right away, Barry just starts talking over the intro, doing his thing. I had to mute him because the wind running through the New Jersey fucking air on the outside of a Starbucks is going on. And he says to me at the beginning of the podcast, Pat, he was the first one on there. He's like, I'm a professional. I'm like, well, you're professional that you're early.
26 years in the game, Pat. 26 years.
Yeah, and he's like, but you're not. By the way, your Barry is good, and it's also a good Bernie Sanders. Barry Sanders, which is a football player, and the worst combo of those
I'm trying to work on it because I heard Mike Figg's Barry Ribs, and it is on point. It might even be better than Barry Ribs.
Okay, you want to speak of someone who understands how to deal with assholes on the internet? Mike Figs.
Yeah.
Mike is a running joke to people because they know it's funny. He can take the joke, but they bury him, but they do it out of love for what he does.
He's fucking
but he
funny,
runs,
man.
He's hilarious and he's quick. When I'm,
yes,
it's so fun when I get to sit on Wet Spot. And
yeah, I just did Wet Spot last Monday. It was a fucking blast, man.
And he's quick. He understands his role. But Christy and I talked about that when she was on my podcast. He gets Barry. This is not us shitting on you. You are a funny guy.
He won't even listen. His manager will clip it.
Well, I will play it for you. And then your manager is ruining you.
Yes.
Atticus, you stink. You stink on ice. You're not a good person to help. Be a fan or learn what to do.
Be funny.
Oh, no, don't be funny. As a manager, don't be funny.
Shut up. Just shut the fuck up overall. If you're going to say something, try to make it funny and don't just name call.
If you want to be a personality, don't use Barry to get your name out there. And that's what it feels like it is. This fucking guy watched Stancil and Mead, and he's watched all the other comedy cucks and the beautiful boys and all these fans who have risen up. That's why I thought it was funny when he brought that up. When he brought up to me that why would you want those two on, I had to think about it, and I went, oh, it's not about saying why not have Barry on. It's his jealousy of other fans rising up, because a lot of these fans, think about the fans that we know that now retweet things, that put out things that get likes and now build personality because they're friends or fans of shows.
And most of them are good people. I've met some of them.
Even if they
aren't.
Even if they are terrible, even if they're child molesters, they retweet me and I don't care.
Right. Yeah.
All that matters is they like what I'm saying. I don't care. I don't promote what they do back there. What I'm saying is this guy seems like he has a fucking agenda.
That makes sense. I haven't thought about it in that light.
And he wants to be known. Right now, you and I are talking about him. Christy's mentioned him. People mention him. Brennan's mentioning him. He gets talked about on fucking Brennan. But when I did your food contest, Brennan didn't even mention. He
didn't even mention my show or me at all in that. I was like, what the fuck? You're talking about the whole competition. Didn't mention one ski mask. Finally, and you can tell Bob didn't even want to say it until the end. Something was going on with that. I think it said whatever.
And here's the great thing about this. So I thought to myself, how do we combat that? I'm like, oh, when people are fucking with me, I go back at them what they're doing to me. I used to just respond and do whatever. If someone posts something to piss me off, I post basically the same thing, mirroring them without saying I'm doing that. So what I'm doing, Atticus, is this. You're so mad. You're so angry. We will do a joint show, me and CMAS, where you can sit in and you can defend your fucking self.
Absolutely.
Want to do that show? We'll do it on your show. If you want, I don't
either
care.
Or we'll put it out as both. I don't care. Just I know he's not going to do it. He's not going to do it.
And you can bring Barry if you want, but realize, my friend, you better fucking study up on how to fucking talk, because you're not going to battle. And by the way, calling you a bad host, I get it. He was trying to make a joke, maybe, or a shot, whatever, and saying Stancil's I like Stancil. Stancil's a fun personality, but you and I talked about that. You can't let those guys take over, and he's not doing that. Stancil knows his role. Mead knows his role.
Right.
But to weirdly say that you're not a good host, bad host, he can think whatever he wants about you. You let him. You let his what, I guess, client. I don't know if he's paid. I don't want to say client. I want to say like his hoe, because basically he's the pimp for him. He lets his hoe be on your show.
He planned it for a month and a half. A
You should
month
be
and a half.
fit.
He could have had 3 other shows talking to them about this dating game. I was the only one that picked it up. So when it didn't go the way Atticus wanted it to, because wasn't gonna
He believes that
fucking run my show like it's 19 out of here.
He believes that that he's got some presence and some reach because a couple are talking about. They don't understand how small this world is.
Yeah.
Nobody knows who any of us are.
Right.
Like when we talk to people in the middle of the country, and I'm not shitting on
I
them.
talk to people here in my hometown. I'm like, hey, I had Gino Bisconti on my show. They're like, who? I'm like,
Yeah, exactly.
you know,
MLC show. It's not like it's nationwide. I mean, it's
a
out
community.
there.
Yeah.
It's a community. It's a very strong community.
And because of Twitter, you'll have fans all around the country, in Australia, all over the place. But even when they're there, no one else knows. It's just like it's a weird community. I love it, but it's like sometimes, like this Atticus guy, me and you actually talked about this on your last show. When he comes back and says something on Twitter as a jab or a hit piece or whatever, it's not funny. He's just calling me a cunt or a bad host or just name calling. So whenever I reply, I try not to name call. I'm just stating facts. Dude, you're not funny. I mean, what do you want to say?
Also, and then it becomes that. And listen, I'm a big fan of punching down. I think you should always punch down. I don't know why people. I've been doing a bit on stage lately saying it's time to make fun of Asians again. You have to punch down because they kick up. You know what I mean? So that's what they do. So punching down is whatever. But when it comes to dealing with someone like him who has no ability to defend himself verbally or in any way, when he writes shit like that, you just let it go. Even Barry will take shots. Like I don't even know if Barry realizes that he's coming off like a dick. I know he thinks that he's busting, but like he wrote something. I'm like, why are you trolling me right now? And he's like, no, I'm busting ball. I'm like,
that's not ball. When I bust your ball,
we're having a conversation. This is a post I'm putting up about myself, and then he's like, oh, nice diary info. Like,
Jeez.
what are you talking about? Like, Chrissy Mayer hashtag she thinks this. I'm like, Chrissy's not involved in this. Stop.
Yes, he posted a joke about the dentist a few weeks ago. So I simply replied. I was like, hey, how much is your premium? And he had like a huge issue with that. I'm like, oh, you can bust balls, but I can make a slight joke and you don't like it. So what the fuck, man?
Oh yeah, you can't attack him.
No, not at all. You talked to him about the birds. Oof, that shit's brutal.
I mean, on my POS show, he's like, the question is I say the topic, whatever, and I go, who's the piece of shit? I give some fake fucking examples, whatever, and then he goes, you're the piece of shit, like every time to me.
I know.
And I was like, yeah, I'm the piece of shit for having you on my fucking show. Like, and then he would try to go back and forth with me, and he goes, I told one story, and he tried to say some line at me like, I wouldn't promote that you're somewhere with crazy people. And I went, Barry, if I was on a show with you, I'd tell people. And it got a huge fucking laugh. He kind of like didn't get the joke at first. Then went, but then it's like, what do you think, my mentor Bob Levy? It's like, what's that? Dude, stop name dropping. Yeah. Barry, you're talented. Barry,
he name drops a lot.
Believe in you.
Yeah.
Stream it back. The way you should start doing, Barry, if you're not ready to podcast, if you don't have the ability to do it, go on Twitter Live.
He should.
For 5 fucking minutes.
He should, and he can make the excuse.
He can do a thing called Ask Barry Anything.
That's good. That's great stuff too. I've even mentioned that. I think I did it on the first show ever when he came on, and I had a list of questions, whether they were good or not. He kept dodging them, and it ended up that was a total disaster train wreck. Every show he's been on, I think there was one good one. That's it.
All right, you want a good example of a guy who understands to be a fan and also build a presence? Gum Fridays, Richard.
Great guy. I met him last Saturday. Awesome guy, man.
Supportive, wonderful, huge fan.
Yes.
Makes a joke on the fact that he's like, I'm the Gum Friday Twitter, even though I'm not associated with it, whatever.
Right.
It's not like really their thing. Never tries to make himself bigger than the show, the people, or never tries to say he has like influence on the show. Supports everyone. I mean, the kind of guy that will, hey, it's a tough time. He'll go to my Patreon for 1 month and donate a couple bucks and then have to pop out so he can donate to yours or someone else's, but go back and forth. Cares about everybody, comments on things, retweets things, whatever, but never makes it about him.
He's in the community. If he sees something he likes, he's going to retweet it. If not, he leaves it alone. That's it. That's a fan.
And here's the thing. That guy has more connections by doing that than Finch, who, if he wanted to, probably could be a manager because he understands how to talk to people. Probably could comment to somebody and say, hey, you guys, hey, local comedy club, why don't you have Pat Oates and Ski Mask at your show? The two of them combined could do a show together and maybe draw a couple people in. I'll love if we were in the White Plains area or something like that. Maybe we can do this. Some dumb thing. That guy has that ability to do so. Atticus would just start yelling at the club's fucking Twitter page. Why aren't you having Barry Rib? Barry Rib.
Right, right.
You had this guy, that guy, and making a scene on. So I don't think he realizes that. There's a stamp there. The club gets embarrassed and weirded out, and then doesn't want anything to do with
they
you.
They don't want interaction like that on Twitter. And unfortunately, I'm trying to get some bigger guests on my show. I don't need that shit, and I don't need to get involved in it anymore.
Well,
I hate not replying.
The,
it's
the
like
big guests won't care. The problem is that the people that are your followers now will get bored of Barry and Atticus. So if they're on too much, or it becomes their show. Because here's the thing: there are people when I go on Compound who love when I'm on. There are people when I go on Compound who hate when I'm on. That's just the nature of the beast.
Yes.
But if the people like me, you don't have me on every day to fucking spurn those who don't. You mix it in and out. You have other guests. There's people that love Ian Finance and people that hate him. There's people that love all different kind of guests that are on those shows all the time.
Yeah.
When Zumach comes on, people get mad. I make jokes, whatever, but he's on shows and some people like it, don't. But you don't have him on every fucking day.
Right.
You appease all your audience. With someone like with Barry, if you have him on too much and people don't like Barry, and they go, "Oh, Barry's always on that show."
You know what?
I'm not gonna listen.
Because the first two appearances, there was a lot of people excited, ready to see him again. And then by the third appearance, people were bored. And by this one, a train wreck. I mean, you're right. I can't let it happen.
He's also a one-trick pony, and also because what he does is his thing, but it's got to be spaced out.
Yeah.
Unless you're going to be able, unless you can control it yourself and make sure that Barry does what you want him to do. Like, I can have you on every couple of weeks because I know we can have different kinds of conversations.
For sure.
It won't be the same thing.
Because we're host, Atticus. We're host.
Bad ones. Bad hosts.
Bad hosts. But we run our shows the way we want to. I mean, he's never.
But through trial and tribulation.
That's it.
Okay. I don't know if you know this, but my listeners know this, but some people might not. Newer listeners don't know this. About less than a year ago, I was doing my podcast. I was having trouble dealing with the podcast. I wasn't doing it right. I was having my own problems in life. I was dealing with shit. I was not having guests on. It was before COVID. I didn't know how to do Zoom. I was doing a lot of just trying to be like Bill Burr ranting, but I wasn't.
That's the best. That's the best.
It's not good. When you don't know how to do it, it's not good.
Because if you don't have any good episodes, like any good reviews on them? I'm going to go listen to them now because that's my favorite thing that hosts can do.
Right, but let me finish.
Go ahead.
Because, no, in my mind, I thought they were going well. But, yeah, I would kind of contradict myself. When you're trying to talk for an hour, it's hard to keep. I didn't have notes and have space, whatever. There's a podcast called Who Are These Podcasts? And what they do is they shit on people's podcasts. Somebody who wasn't getting along with me submitted my podcast to do that. They ripped me the fuck apart. I suggest people go listen to it. Not only my podcast, they rip apart my podcast, me personally. That's their job. Now, most people get mad at them for what they do, obviously, because it's a fucked up niche.
Yeah, but you have to know that they're good at it. That's what they do.
You can know that. If they attack you personally, it's a hard thing to take.
It is.
So I did what I thought was right, and I said, hey, I listened to you guys before. I had met him one time being a Compound, and I said, I listened to you guys before and enjoyed it when you shit on other people, so how dare I get mad at you doing your job to me? Absolutely. And I took notes from it, and I listened to it, and I paid attention to some things they were just being mean to be funny.
Of course.
Now, not only have I turned it around and learned how to do that by going through listening to that shit, by talking to E-Rock, by talking to other podcasts, by listening to other podcasts, even ones I don't like the genre, to learn how other people do things. I've only turned it around so much that now my podcast people like it. They like it. The people that did it. I've now been a guest on Who Are These Podcasts, shitting on other people. And I was just a guest on the Who's Right podcast, which is a guy named Doug, who was the guest shitting on me. He wanted to be on his podcast now. So I learned from my mistakes. I learned from what I'm doing. Atticus, take this criticism as a learning experience. We're not doing it to bully you, but we like Barry. We want Barry to do well. Either get the fuck away from him or take a step fucking back and learn how to change so you can better who you are, so better things can happen for your client, Barry Ribb. Because if not, no one's going to want to deal with this fucking crazy-ass manager.
Yeah, I mean, there's no reason I shouldn't be having Barry Ribbs on every now and then right now, but it's ran its course for me.
Let me ask you a question.
Just dealing with him.
And I know, but let's take away the part where you enjoy Barry. As a host, you can't always be what you enjoy. What does Barry Ribb add to you having him on? Does he give you more listeners than before?
No, but that's why. No, not at all. He doesn't. No.
Does he do anything that other comics couldn't do in the structure that you have set?
Absolutely not. No, it's just it's Barry Ribs.
Right.
That's why I packed the show out. It's chaos.
Exactly. So
it's chaos.
So you're trying now. You're not only having him on just to have him on, but now you're fucking doing other things and building up other obstacles and barriers to make him work. You're building buffers. So, and this is not a shot at Barry. I'm that way too. Yeah, some people like me on because they know they don't have to have any other guests on because I can talk all day. I don't draw listeners or viewers. I don't have that draw. You're going to get the same amount of people. Maybe one or two will come over, but you're not going to get a lot. When you and I do each other's shows, we kind of have some of the same audiences. Some might go here or there, but we're not going to tip the scales either way. Now, hearing the two of us talk, people that like podcasting know that we're both kind of at the same level trying to grow a thing so that it can be interesting. But other people who just want to hear a show are like, oh, it's going to be inside niche, and I don't care.
Who's Atticus?
Right now, people are like, what the fuck is this show? But people do like drama and shit talk. So now we have to find a way to get people interested that don't know anything about this, which we're trying to do now by having a conversation.
Correct.
Barry, listen to me. Be grateful every time you're a guest on a show because Compound Media doesn't need me. You don't need me. Any other show that has me on does not need me. And I'm thankful every time I get to go on and promote my stuff and my self-worth to other people. But they don't need to have me on. So don't go on afterwards on Twitter and make weird jokes or like shots on the show. It's fine. Outside of it, they don't get it. These are new people coming to maybe see the show, and you're making the show look bad. You and Atticus, tone it down. Be the personalities on the show if you want, but when it comes to promoting the show, don't shit on the promotion because I'm not going to have you back on because you have no fucking value. Not just Barry, 99% of the guests.
Yeah.
Chrissy Mir has a value. She has a huge audience. I have her on, I get more views. Dave Landau has a value. I have him on, I get more views. Gino has a value. Besides those couple people, most guests I have on are people I just find funny and I jive with. You know what your value is, Ski Mask? I enjoy talking to you. And that makes me have a good podcast. That's a value to me. But if I have to fight with Barry, if I have to deal with him and know that's going to be a headache, there's no value. And I'm not enjoying it.
I don't want to stress. I started this thing as fun. I don't need it to be a hassle just to have a guest on. Oh, it has to be at this time. You can't get to the McDonald's till then. It's like, all right, the joke's over. Come on.
Or you're just like, hey, Pat, I'm using – you do the impression better. But I'm using the Starbucks fucking Wi-Fi. Yo, Pat. I'm using
Pat,
the Starbucks.
Starbucks is closed. I got to get down to the other I think there's a McDonald's in Elizabeth.
I'm stealing their Wi-Fi. Like, no,
the one thing that happened.
Bear, you're outside. You're not stealing it. It's available. It's fucking available. You're not a thief. You're not a rebel. You're just outside. Go inside. Do you live inside? Steal your neighbors.
So if you notice, if you guys listen to those episodes on all four, I always ask where he is and what restaurant he's out of. Because the one before last, I had Joe Exotic calling the Starbucks to let them know that there was a gentleman stealing the Wi-Fi. So I was running a whole bit, and there was another show that Barry was on that he got caught.
Did they do anything?
The Wi-Fi. Yeah, they asked him to leave, and it was fucking hilarious like, on the show. And that's what we were trying to do, So Joe Exotic was in the background because I was like, oh, Barry, where you at right now? And he would be like, yeah, I'm on 2nd and 87th at the Starbucks in Elizabeth. And they'd be like, all right, call the Starbucks.
Right. Two things for people listening going, holy shit, Ski Mask knows Joe Exotic. No, it's his Twitter handle. It's not Joe Exotic.
Excuse me. That's not the Joe Exotic.
No, I'm just making sure because some people, listen.
I know, right.
Listen, the Bagel Boss at one point was big, and then he was a guy who would just go on shitty podcasts.
Bagel Boss.
Definitely Joe Exotic could end up – the real one could end up on both our podcasts someday.
Oh, he will. I mean, I actually I have mutual friends with him, down here in the South. So,
well, congratulations.
I'm going to try to get his fucking ass on here. Yeah, I know, right?
But secondly, there's another person, Joe Exotic, who's reached out to me and said, hey, man, you ever need any help with little clips putting on video? I'm not good at that. I do it off my phone on a laptop. He's like, if you want me to pull a clip for you, I'll do it. I'm like, dude, I appreciate that. He's like, yeah, I support people. Joe gets mentioned by you all the time to the point where people that listen to your podcast do know his existence.
He's got a following.
Right. But same way as Mead and Stancil, he's not going crazy like this Atticus Finch and the people like that. Like we're trying to become bigger. I'm telling you. Atticus Finch wants to be those guys. If he could wear Stancil's skin as a suit, he would do it.
Oh, yeah, of course.
That'd be a big coat. That'd be a big stretched out coat.
Big fat. I mean, not fat, but big.
No.
You know,
I will
tight
say it,
coat.
Jim.
I won't.
Jim, you're fat.
I rode in an elevator with him when I was up there, and I bumped into him. Total brick, solid brick. I said, "Wow, you're a beautiful boy." Now, have you had any run-ins with the Schmeckle Juice from Twitter? Schmeckle Juice
I've
Incorporated.
seen him on Twitter, but I don't know who he is.
That's another one of those guys that was kind of like Atticus. So, I mean, I enjoy it. I like what he's doing. He's the one who's behind the Ski Mask Collective clips page.
Nice.
Just so everyone out there is aware, it's not me posting that stuff. He's trying to stir some shit.
So he's doing your stuff and then like shitting on you?
Well, he wasn't shitting on me, so he was getting mad because he made me this 1-minute intro video that he wanted me to use before every one of my shows. And I told him, I was like, it was good, you know, but the way my show runs, I don't even know what time I'm doing my shows. That's the way I like it. I'm not gonna use the same intro on every show. Like I might use it once or twice. So he's like, all right, well, this is where you download it. And he sends me a link. I click on the link, it takes me somewhere else to a bunch of other links, and it's not working. And when it downloads, it's all foggy. I said, hey, dude, link doesn't work. He's like, oh, let me send you. I said, can't you just fucking like message it to me or email it to me? No, it's got to be this link. I'm like, I don't feel comfortable clicking on a link.
Right.
And then he got mad. He's like, you need to learn how to use a computer. You know, you get on the. I'm like, what the fuck? You're making me content. I'm not asking you for this shit.
Not only that, dude, your name is Schmeckle Juice. I'm not clicking on fucking anything from Schmeckle Juice.
It's not a known link.
It sounds like Jewish cum. I don't want Schmeckle Juice anywhere near me.
Yes. And I mean, some of the stuff you post is funny, but man, you can't start off as a fan of my show and then in the DMs get mad when I'm not accepting your content. Like, what is that?
That's also something I wanted to talk with you with my intervention for you, Mr. Ski Mask.
Oh God, here we go.
No, this is a good thing. Yes, this is
learn.
Once again the Pat Oates learning tree.
Woo.
Don't give the fans more power than they deserve.
Yes.
It's awesome that like I said before, we do this because we love the fact that people enjoy what we're doing. It can become too powerful sometimes.
Yeah.
People like you and I aren't going to become delusional because our self-esteem is so low, it will never allow it. So that's the good thing about us. We're never going to believe in ourselves 100%. We're always going to think it's the rub we got from other shows. We're always going to think it's the guests we had on. We're never going to believe in Pat Oates or Ski Mask.
Right.
That's who we are, and it kind of humbles us and grounds us.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it'd be nice one day if we both went on ego trips. That'd be fucking cool, but we don't have that ability.
No.
The problem is when we let some certain fans know how important they are to us, they start to build an ego, and those people become bigger. So they think now we owe them. They're doing now. I appreciate when people do things for me, but realize you're helping out what I've created. You are not important. You are helpful.
Good point.
You are a helper, and I appreciate you. But I'm doing this. You're not doing it. The people that they believe they're part of your show. So sometimes I think you're getting there now. It's fun to have all these fans on. But you've turned two fans into co-hosts.
Yes.
That's the bar. The bar is Mead and Stancil. The other ones don't need to be on now.
No.
Now, if they want to be on, I like what you're doing. Do it through the Patreon. If you want to do a thing where it's like, hey, if you're a patron and you want to, support once a month, I'll choose one of you by random and you get to be a show.
I mean, that's what the Patreon is. Right.
But they shouldn't be on your fucking free show because when I'm watching, I don't want to watch, Fred the Jew or whatever the fuck guy you have on. Like, I don't care about him because it's just I want to hear you. You're a good host. Yes, you have things you have to say, but a lot of times you just let people present what they do and you go with that flow. You give them a vehicle. That's what you do well. That's what Atticus doesn't understand. When he said you're a bad host, he's used to people like me or Brennan or people that just our shows are about us, and if you're a guest, you're kind of in the wake, and you have to learn how to swim through it. You host a show.
That's what it is now. Because
but that's who you are. That's who you are.
Too many people out there now take sides. I'm trying to create a platform where I don't create sides. Right. I'll have 2 people on that will just fight it out. I'll mediate. That's it.
But Barry isn't the kind of guy that's going to take over. So but he doesn't know how to go through a guided thing either. You have to you have to find a way to get him in the right niche to make Barry shine. You have to.
Yeah, I mean that's why I have 5 other people on, and we just sit there and comment on what Barry's doing and talking about.
Right,
and it's been good the first 3.
Right, but then that also, if those people aren't like really good at doing that. What can happen is they'll say a comment that they'll think is kind of fun and ball busting, and then Barry tries to outdo them, and then Barry loses his one role of being the person that's talking, and the
Yep.
others are commenting. He now tries to comment back, and it becomes squabbling, and it's hard to listen to. You're
Yeah.
better off just having one or two people on when he's on, or having Barry on in a recorded thing and then having a viewer watch where people comment on what Barry said and play that later.
Wow. What an idea that is. If you don't
Right.
hop on it, I might.
Oh, I would never hop on. You
When
can
I get
fucking
rid of
have Barry all you
Atticus.
want.
Yeah, I don't want to
I'll
deal with it.
probably have to have them on now once just because.
Think? I'll
just
do
because
it.
we're doing this.
Yeah.
And I don't care, but I'd rather just do it with you if we do it. But
Yeah, absolutely.
It just pissed me off this morning because you've put in so much work in the last couple of months to build this up from absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
To the point where you're getting ready to move over to the East Coast. You're visiting. Yeah. You're getting on shows. You're getting
Compound. It was crazy, man.
Yeah, it's awesome that you got to do all that kind of stuff. To have someone like this try to sit there and try to see if he can weasel in. That's what it is.
Yeah.
He feels like he's just trying to take any advantage to get known. If someone with a little bigger, if Kevin Brennan turned to him one day and said, "Hey, Atticus, how about you manage me? Drop Barry," he would in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
No,
absolutely.
Why? I'm just saying that name because it's probably the biggest name that Atticus has any like a fucking
has been mentioned
with.
By or who knows him. Yeah.
But obviously Kevin wouldn't do that because the guy can't offer anything.
Of course.
Barry can get more gigs by himself. Nowhere is Atticus getting him a gig.
Barry's a genuine guy. When I met him last Saturday, I was like, wow, this is the Barry that I thought I would get to meet. In person, awesome to deal with. Like, hey, Barry, you want to do this? Sure, man. Just asking questions about you and stuff. On Twitter, it becomes like this persona that used to be funny. I would say in that way when I wasn't aware of the whole situation. Now it's just fucking annoying.
Well,
and I don't.
Train wrecks are cool from afar, Ski Mask.
That's it. That's
what they are. If you remember one thing in life, train wrecks are great from afar. So when you're just on Twitter looking through your news feed and you see a train wreck, you're like, oh, cool train wreck.
Yeah, you want to keep up with it. Yeah.
But when you're on the train, they're horrific. You're going to die.
Catastrophic.
Once you tie yourself with Barry, it's not a fun train wreck anymore.
Right.
It's your life. And you're like, now he's on your show and now the train wreck is starting to destroy the show. Yes. You got to pull back from it. Same way, like I said, with relationships. Certain people from far away, you're like, I see the craziness, but it's fun to watch. Then you get in with it. You're like, oh my God, I'm part of the wreck now. It was better from afar. And it's hard to read sometimes because you get excited because the train wreck is sometimes beautiful.
Exactly.
And Barry has a beauty to him where you're like, if I can mold this right on my show, people will love what Barry does here. Like, case in point, you just had Bobby Tamburo on, who I fucking love.
I love him, man.
I think Bobby's the kind of guy that needs a bigger platform. And when he gets more confident, he's funny, all that. I love having Bobby on my show. Bobby's the kind of guy that when you put him in the right light and let him shine, do his thing, he'll kill and do great. But you have to know that you have to be the one talking the most. And when he's a sniper, when he's able to comment off what you're saying, he's quick, he's fast, he's funny as fuck. You have to learn that with Barry. But when you let Barry take over, then you can landslide and crush down. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's too much because even if you try to, like, you're the host of a show and you're trying to run it the way you want to because that's it. You're the fucking host. And then he wants to, don't interrupt and shit like that. It's like, okay, it's all downhill from here. So that's why I've never been interested in doing a one-on-one with Barry Rizz because I feel like there would be a lot of dead silence that I would have to edit. And I do enough of work for this thing, like it's a pain in the ass. And that's a lot of things Atticus and guys like that don't understand. We work full-time jobs, actual work, Atticus. I can't Zoom call with you and converse with you at 1:00 in the afternoon.
Especially about nothing.
Yeah, we'll do the show when we do the show. I don't want to have to talk about what the fuck I'm wearing tonight or, what questions I'm asking. Barry's going to come on. He's going to be Barry. That's it.
If I knew every time, listen, if somehow Joe Rogan wanted to be on my podcast.
Well, listen.
And someone contacted me and said, Joe wants to be on your podcast, but here is the stipulations. Here's the rule. Here's the things he wants to talk about. I know that I'm going to get so many views, and it's going to help my Patreon. It's going to get me maybe make some money, get me some exposure, all that stuff. I'm going to listen what they have to say.
Yes.
If a manager of a guy who draws me no views, if anything, might get me a couple less views, to be honest with you. I'm not trying to be but right now he's been so annoying. It might get you less. Someone might go,
nobody wants to watch it. I mean,
I'll pass on the Barry show because he's also been on so many of our shows now that people are like, okay, I've seen it. It's the same
enough.
act.
Yeah. They're getting
That's
tired
the
of
thing
it.
too.
Right.
So
right.
if you're going to do that, you don't get to fucking message me and tell me, here's how we're doing this, or here's what you should do. I don't need to listen to you. I have the platform. I'm the media that you want. You need me way more than I need you. Shut your mouth. A, don't be involved. Manager, don't get involved. I should talk with Barry. Everyone I hire, I don't go through a management thing. I message them. I hit you up and said, hey, you available today? You're like, yeah, let's talk some shit. And that's it. Even if you had a manager, I'd be like, why do I deal with a manager? Managers make money, so they only want to deal with money shit. When I first started booking a comedy club years ago, I knew some comics that are now bigger names. Guys like Mark Norman, Joe List, guys like that I knew from back in the day when I was doing comedy, and they started getting good management, but my club didn't pay a lot. So I would still message them, and they go, as long as we can keep it on the down low, don't go to the managers because they're going to take some of the money, and I'm not making that much. So we would be quiet. I would promote like a week before, but we wouldn't go through the management, or they would ask for more money, but also take more money and make it difficult. That's what they understood the game then.
Of course.
A guy like Atticus now trying to message me and saying, well, you shouldn't talk about politics.
He's not in the game.
We didn't even understand that he was on. He said, like, well, on your Pat Oates podcast, I get it. I have a couple podcasts and they have different names. He's like, on your Pat Oates podcast, you shouldn't talk politics. You shouldn't. I go, well, you weren't on the Pat Oates podcast. You were on POS, which is a different fucking show where I talk about current events, and it's not about the guest. Now, on my show here, it's about the guest. When I had Andrea Bryan on, we talked about the world, the Navy, politics, because she talks about those things. When I have you on, you and I aren't going to talk Trump because we don't fucking know shit about Trump.
I know, but I mean, I don't talk to him anyways. If you notice on my shows, I don't mention his name once. And that's for good. That's for good reason. But that's not what the show is.
Right, but I know I can do it when I want to. But it's not your strength, so why would I do it?
Yes.
You're good at talking shit about this world, so I'm going to
That's
talk
what
to you
I want.
about that.
Yeah. I mean, I can talk Trump all day, but I mean, if people want to do that, but it's not on my show because too many fucking people take sides.
But
and I just want,
teach him how to act on Twitter. It's like, no, you teach him. You're his manager.
That's what. Okay, so
manage your man.
I wanted to read some of this, if you don't mind, that he sends me.
I don't mind it also.
Okay, all right. I got a few that I want to read from him, and that are great because, like you said, you're his manager, Atticus. What the fuck? All right, so I had to get that out. You mentioned the Zoom spotlight. We could try to get it to work, but you'd have to walk Barry through it. Why me? I live in Texas. You're his manager. You walk him through the Zoom spotlight.
Well, A, because he thinks that now that we're having Barry on, that we were supposed to like bend over. Every show's about them. He doesn't watch our other shows. That manager has no idea. He even said, well, I don't really know your audience. I'm like, why are you trying to put your guy on? Why do you care about what you're doing? I hit up Barry. You didn't hit me up. You didn't inquire about your guy coming on, loser. You fucking I fucking said, Barry, would you like to be on the show? He said, great, thank you. That was done. Why are we talking? Go ahead.
Yeah. He jumped in mine, was like, I'd like to do this dating game. I said, let me think about it. Give me a month and a half, and he finally came at me with all this. But if not, I think the voice is just as good because it leaves the audience guessing. Just make sure the names the girls use for Zoom don't ruin the surprise. And can you do gallery view so when the girls are talking, Barry's face is on the screen?
He's directing?
Yeah, no, that's the whole thing, yeah. From a technical standpoint, the bigger Barry's face is on the screen, the better. That's why I thought just you and Barry on video would make for great TV. And last thing, if you can wear a suit jacket and tie or no shirt and a tie, I think it would be a funny visual. Here.
What the fuck? Wait. Now he's dressing you?
That's what I'm telling you. He's telling me what to wear on my show.
You already wear a ski mask.
Is that enough, Pat? Is that enough?
I think it's more than most.
Fucking A. Yeah, what kind of budget does he think I have for this? All right, here we go.
Listen, imagine watching that and going, I don't know. This show isn't that funny, but look how dapper he looks.
Right. Ooh, he really knows how to tie a tie.
What a handsome young man.
Is that the Donald Trump signature tie? Whoa, he ties it nicely.
Is that picture of Atticus? Is that what he looks like? Is he a crazy?
No, that's not him. That's
a
fake. That's a fake picture. I can't remember where that picture came from. Somebody knows out there, so put a tweet out and they'll tell you where it came from.
Is he a young man? Is he an old man?
I want to say he's a young man by the way he. No, actually, you know what?
Because if he's young, then I'm even more mad.
I'm going to say he's an old man because. Guy. All right, let me read this. And this will tell you if you get the same thing. This is what made me think he's an old guy.
Okay.
All right. Technical side. Think it's best if it's just you and Barry on video. The women shouldn't be shown until the end when they reveal themselves. But the two boxes on screen would be you and Barry. I would love if there was a way we could have the girls on video and not let Barry see the video, but I can't figure that out. Have a soundboard with audience reactions. Ooh la la, boner sound, sex sound. Have fun with it. Want you to be the
he's
host.
so old. Yeah. You're right.
Yes.
That is old school.
I'm like,
fucking
that is
80s
Howard.
radio.
Because when he first started talking to me about this, he's like, talking about the old Howard dating games. I'm like, dude, do you know how many that was before I was born, asshole?
Not even that, it's been done so many fucking times.
Exactly, man.
Okay,
Exactly.
if I was gonna do a dating show, and you were gonna be the person dating girls, the people are watching it to see what women are on there.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what they're watching.
That's it.
To hide the women till the end is so fucking boring.
I know.
You want,
I shouldn't have done that.
Here's what you should do. This, if you were gonna do it, it's the opposite. You fucking dope. This is what you do. You show the women. You show Ski Mask. So you're hosting it, and then Barry is blocked out. Barry's just talking. They can't see him. So that when they finally see it, and it looks like Christopher Lloyd from fucking Back to the Future, they're like, "What the fuck is this?"
And we don't need to see him anyways, because all we can see is his nose hairs, because you can't get him a fucking tripod, Atticus.
But what I'm saying is, the surprise would be from the women going, one woman's finally, he talks, he doesn't sound that bad. He says, okay. She goes, okay, fine, I'll date this guy. And then you see him and you're like, oh shit, it's the guy who's going to tie me to a furnace and not let me escape. Like, that's the whole fucking joke. It's not about revealing the women after.
Right.
Because listen, if they're hot, then they're hot. If they're gross, then they're gross. But either way, no one expects Barry to be pulling tens. So it's not about the women. It's about the fact that it's going to be fucking Barry Rib is going to fuck you.
Yeah, and that, I mean, I could have put more thought into it, but I was over this idea 2 weeks ago. I was done. I forgot all about it till he messaged me yesterday. I said, "Oh fuck, I got to do that." It was the one show where I was like sitting here and I was like, "Ugh, I don't," because I knew what was going to happen. I mean, it was going to come on. Nothing was going to go the way that this Atticus wanted it to, because obviously he doesn't know how to control his client. It's a fucking joke. It's all a joke. It's a scam. He's not even paying him.
Well, it's not even a joke or a scam. It's just this guy wants attention, and Barry, like I said, Barry wants love. Barry wants to feel appreciated. Barry wants to feel like he matters, and I get that. Listen, dude, as a comic, I'm looking you right in the eyes, Barry.
I know.
As a fucking comic, doing this 13 years, I've had a lot of problems in my life dealing with doing therapy and stuff. Like, I'm putting everything out there. I'm getting laughs. I'm getting attention, but nobody's grabbing onto me. No one's saying you're the guy that should – I could have been on Compound, and now it looks like that might not happen. It might, who knows? But with all this shit in the world, I thought I could finally have something. There was times doing comedy where I thought people were starting to talk to me about, hey, representing you, but then it didn't happen. Certain things could have happened, and they fell apart in the wayside. You have to dust yourself up. You get back on the horse, but sometimes you're still sad on the horse. You might get on there, but you're bummed out. Bear, I get it, man. You want someone to believe in you. I believe in you. Ski Mask believes in you. Other comics believe in you.
That may have given
the community believe in you. Not some guy who doesn't know what he's doing. I'm not saying this to shit on you. Believe me, this is not getting me more views. This will not be the episode that blows the fuck up. It will not be like Barry Ribs of Palooza where the world's gonna. Like, this is not my 9/11. People will forget this one so fucking hard. Believe me. But I'm doing this because you're funny. You're talented, and because, holy shit, you've been doing it for twice the amount of time I have, and I've thought of quitting. Your persistence is amazing. You're a girl during 100-person gangbang, and you're only on 57, and there's a lot more shitty dick coming, but you've got to finish, and you're just taking a lot of terrible dick, but then one of them is Atticus Finch. Don't let him put it in your ass. Let him sit in the corner and jerk off. He's not good for you. You don't need it. We believe in you. You want a platform? You want to learn how to podcast? Hit up the guy you said isn't a good host, Mr. Ski Mask here. In a year's time has gone from not having a show to people talking about his show.
Yes.
Take notes from Chrissy Mayer. She knows how to do this. Don't take notes from me because I'm not giving you fucking notes. I'm telling you where to go because fuck you. I've got dumb shit going on. But you can make it happen. Just be Barry. Believe in yourself. Yes, it's awesome that this guy says he's your manager, but I've had people tell me they love me, but then they've hurt me. So they don't – it's nice to hear your love, but then they're also cracking you in the head with something. It's not a good time. Don't get cracked in the fucking head. Run, Bear. Run. Run, Bear.
Run. Get away from him. And look, when we're reaching out as hosts and saying this type of shit, why would we be going out of our way to hurt you? We just know that this guy it's ruining the whole image of what is Barry Ribs at this point. If we didn't believe in you, we wouldn't have you on the show. But
Barry's whole I don't know much Barry, but on Twitter and his comment and all that, his thing was I don't give a fuck on Barry Ribs.
Yeah.
I'm
yeah,
Barry
yeah.
Ribs. I don't give a fuck. Where'd that go? That was more fun just going, I'm Barry Ribs. And just that people just yelled
I'm
that.
Barry motherfucking Ribs.
Notice who's not yelling that anymore. All the comics that were, the Aaron Bergs of the world, people like that making those jokes, they're not, because you become this weird thing. I can't imagine how much he's bothering those people. I saw him retweet Barry at Kumia, be like, put me on your show. It's like,
What?
not professional. Like,
No.
on attack, not that he's gonna see their care or whatever. He's probably got him fucking silenced anywhere, muted.
First of
like,
all,
like most of us.
Kumia would never even think about dealing with that. What is
Well,
that?
not Atticus. I'm talking about Barry now.
I
think
know,
he would
but
have Barry
even
on.
then, he wouldn't deal with it. He's responded to Barry in the past. It's
Yeah,
like that was years ago.
It's just don't act like a maniac onto. Okay, it's like there's young comics when they start out and they don't understand how to get booked, and they message the club and the club doesn't answer the email right away.
Right.
So they send 4 more fucking emails.
Good
and then
night.
They don't realize that, oh my God, like,
Do
hey,
that
this
to a
person has a
chick.
life and a job. Yeah, same thing with a crazy. So then you're like, oh, I didn't know if you got this email. And then you start messaging them on Facebook and going, I saw you were on Facebook. I don't know why you're not responding to me. Even if you're the funniest person in the world now, you've become annoying. And now I know your name for the wrong reason. And now I want nothing to do with you. Chill. Relax.
Relax
Send a
out there.
Find out who Barry, I'm sure you know who the booker of Compound is for the guests. It's not any of the hosts. Okay?
No.
If you don't know who it is, find out. I'm sure someone will let you know.
It's
Message
pretty
them.
easy.
And they'll get you on.
Right.
That's how you do it. And you're silent about it. You chill through there. I go on all the time. I still go through the booker. That's how you do it. If you want to get on something like that. But to annoy people, to bother people, to have your manager be a train wreck, a fucking nightmare.
Yeah, he's worse than anything I've dealt with doing the show so far. It's just annoying.
He's the gonorrhea of managers. He's just
the worst.
He's burning your crotch. He's making you feel uncomfortable.
I'm going to silence him.
You don't even know how you got it, but it wasn't from something good.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, is it Jacques? Is it Ace? I don't know, but it's there. All right,
the second he told me to follow him, I'm like, I'm not following you.
Yeah,
Go ahead. Keep reading.
All right, so this is the one. I finally had to find it because it was just bothering me when I couldn't see it. This is the one that'll let you know, and everybody listening to this guy's out of touch and completely fucking insane. All right? Gonna be honest, love your show. You're really coming in strong as host and love Stancil Edition / Wingman. The one piece you're missing, and you know I'm honest, no offense, is production. Fuck you. I don't know exactly.
Fireworks and laser light show.
Yeah, I don't know exactly what that means, but it could be as simple as a soundboard or text graphics. Perfect example. Love the food eating contest, but in my opinion, could have been even better with production.
So So to him, soundboard is sound effects, right?
That's what he means. Apparently,
because I have a soundboard. I'm sure you have your mic plugged into something.
Yes.
Does he not know that laptops can do that? But even if you don't, I have a microphone that goes from a soundboard into my laptop. It's about the sound. He means sound effects. He wants wacky sound effects.
Yeah. There's a reason I'm not using that right now. What year is it? Okay. Yeah. Now, what fucking year is it? People are over it. This isn't morning radio. People have choices, Atticus.
Right. But not even that. It's like you do that stuff when you don't have personality.
Yeah.
That becomes the personality.
Yes, exactly. Oh, here's some wacky sounds.
Yeah. Wah, wah. Like, I don't need that. I don't need to do that. On the inside, I'm always booing. I don't need that shit. My heart is booing right now. Oh, it's fucking. And the fact, okay, when you do, listen, I'll give advice on certain things. Comedy, podcast, I wrote a book on it. Podcasting, I've been doing well. I'm not ever saying I know what I'm doing, but I learned from my mistakes. And if I can teach people from the mistakes I've made, I will help them out in that regard.
Yeah.
He's never done anything. So
Nothing.
Why does he think that he can tell you what do you mean? Oh, I would have gone back.
Because we responded.
Please
like
tell me,
earlier,
please tell me the 5 soundboards that you've used recently, and I'll choose one from that.
Soundboards.
What the fuck?
Christ.
I'm bored of your sound, Atticus.
I'm bored of his name. I'm bored of him. I'm done. Like I don't want to. I'm gonna silence him, and I hope all the fucking fans do too, because he's annoying. Even in the secret group chats that we have. Sorry, Atticus, you're not involved. There's like 30 people in there. They don't like you. Go away, or just tone it down, and maybe come back in 6 months and learn how to fucking interact with people.
Anyone listening to this, I need you to tag Ski Mask and me And the hashtag is free Barry ribs.
Free Barry ribs.
Barry ribs freed from the fucking stronghold, which is Atticus Finch.
A toxic relationship between a fake account.
It is. It's very toxic. You need counseling. Barry, get out.
Yeah.
We love you. We're here for you. Get the fuck away from this guy.
Right.
It's bad
and
news.
when you're
bears
away and you develop back to your persona, who you are, maybe we'll have you back on. But for now, it's a running course. It's ran its course. And I don't like to go out of my way to silence people in my DMs. And I had to do that with your fucking manager. That's a problem.
Well, I don't think you have to go out of your way. You hit a button.
Dude, it's a pain in the ass. If I'm driving down the road and I'm hauling a fucking 15-foot trailer and my phone's going ding-a-ding, 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 and I'm blowing on my breathalyzer and I got to fucking pull up the phone to silence him, it's a problem.
But Ski Mask, imagine, you know that noise you just made? Imagine if you had a button and it went ding-a-ding, ding-a-ding. Oh, God. Your show would be so good.
I got a soundboard here. I got a soundboard over here. I got booze. I got crickets. I got audience clapping. It's crazy right now.
If you have a Chinese guy on, and then when you hit a button, it goes dong-a-dong-dong-dong-dong. That would be crazy.
I got a big gong and a big stick. I hired a guy to hit over there. I
hired a guy with the stick and gong to go into a recording booth to hit it, to put it on the soundboard.
Right.
You could have just got the gong. Okay. But
I can hold the gong up myself, but wait, it's not as effective. I thought about just fucking cutting up a bunch of paper and going, woo, confetti, yay, effects.
You could do that, but what you do is this: you get a bucket and you put it on the top of a door, and then you pull the handle with a string, and then it comes down, and you don't have to hit a button now. I've been in the business. I've been in the business 92 years. I understand. I used to be the sound guy for Henny Youngman. He had a long fart noise, a short fart noise, and a sharp noise. It was a. Oh, they're great, and they're all three different. But the audience will feel like they're really shitting their pants.
Yeah, saying they're laughing the whole time on the way to the white-collar jobs. I've been in radio 60 years. We invented the fart sounds because the host couldn't stop shitting in the pants, okay? But now it's become a red course, Atticus.
Before me, it was called Radio. Now it's Radio. Oh, God, that's good.
Wow.
Because of me, because the sounds, what I'm doing, it's great. You don't even need to talk. You just hit buttons for an hour, and it's just like your soundboards doing the show.
Oh, years ago, we thought the video killed the radio star, but we came back with the soundboard, and we're here.
Radio didn't kill the Barry Ribs star. That's what it did, because my star's going to be in Hollywood now.
His manager did kill his presence, and he's gone. No show will host.
His manager has killed 4 babies with his own teeth and my presence. That's what he's done.
His manager tells me how to run my show because his show fell flat. 2 listens maximum.
I wonder if he does that in everything. Like he's calling his landlord and going, here's what you should do. Charge less rent, but you should also have a soundboard inside the room. And instead of running water, it should be Yoo-Hoo coming down. I like Yoo-Hoo. What are you doing? I'm giving advice.
Listen, here's what you need to do. When it rains, I get a little bit of water on my porch. You need to have a company out here, extend the gutters, and then have them go out a little bit further. But first, install a soundboard instead of a regular doorbell. I don't want to hear the regular ding. I want to choose what I want to hear.
He walks out of his apartment and he gets mugged by 3 people and he goes, why are you beating me down?
Give me your soundboards, motherfucker.
One of you should have fucking said freeze or something like that. The other one, you should wear a different mask. You should hit me with a metal pipe, not a wooden stick. It has a better sound. You ever use a soundboard for your mugging?
Where's the fireworks? I should see a big long lighter in your hand and a green fuse. What's up with that?
We need pyro. That's what we need.
We need explosives, Ski Mask. I know you're not doing your show in your apartment that happens to be carpeted and you don't have insurance on, but we need fireworks.
Here's the thing. This is my 299th episode. My next one will be 300, and I just wasted it on a minute. Here we are both saying how this guy needs to stop, and we just stupid. I'm not thinking about it. We just built the Frankenstein's monster so much bigger.
I knew 30 minutes in. I was like, this has gone on, but it's so much fun.
Oh, it's so fun.
I can't fucking help it. Who cares? He's got what, 200 followers on Twitter? I don't have a lot of Twitter followers, but I started this shit in April.
Right, but he's gonna share this with these fucking assholes and go after us.
No, he's not even gonna say assholes. He's gonna call us cunts. He's gonna call us no talent hacks and just stupid shit that anybody else could say that doesn't have a funny bone in their body.
But to be serious, I guess at the end of the day, what you and I are both trying to say is, Mr. Flinch, will you represent me and Ski Mask? We need representation. We need someone to further our careers. We can drop our podcast and give both our podcasts to Barry Ribs so he can have
Mr.
two
Fletch,
podcasts.
I put in an application with Southwest Airlines. I would like to get you down here to produce my show. I have soundboards on the way. Hopefully, I would just reach out to you to get you to press the buttons for me.
Has he hit up the hot sauce?
What do you mean?
Has he bothered your sponsor?
No, I hope not. Well, me and my sponsor are really tight. Like we
No,
talk,
I know, but I know your sponsor. Your sponsor's cool. They'll retweet some of my stuff sometimes. I know they're helping out Christy. So I figured Atticus, if he's bothering all of us, that he has.
I'll message him after because that's.
I'll guarantee he's like, hey, why don't you?
Yes.
You know, nothing better on ribs than hot sauce.
That's right. Yeah. Well, you know what? Now that I think about it, I think he tried to get me to get them involved in the show, and I didn't do it for some reason because it was hacky.
Yeah, I mean. Hot sauce goes good on potatoes, and my name looks like that. Where you go, hot sauce?
Hey,
Ribs and
Pat
potatoes.
Oates, Silk City, get your asses over here.
No, and they've been fun commenting stuff. When I saw that, I'm like, oh, if he's bothering you and me, he's got to be bothering them.
He's bothering everybody. I wonder who he's not bothering. That's the problem. We should put out a tweet. Who is Atticus Finch not bothering? Let's get to that.
But if we do that, then he'll start bothering. We're outing them.
I know.
I've
had a couple fans already messaging
calling out your Anne Franks. It's like, where are you? Who's hiding?
Where you at? Come out of this. Come out of the hidey hole. It's safe. I promise. There's not a big scary soundboard at the door.
All right. Where can they follow you, sir?
All right. Ski Mask Host on Twitter. That's where all the action is. Click on the link in the bio. That'll take you to everything Ski Mask Collective. Thank you. And if you got any Atticus Flinches out there in your life, just take them in the back alley and take care of business. You know what to do.
Yes. We can say one thing is, if you are in a toxic relationship like Barry Ribs is with Atticus Flinch, get away. Call for help. We will help you. Come on both our shows and we'll do it. Ski Mask, thank you so much, man. I really appreciate it.
Always a blast, Pat.
Later.